started us with personality tests, right? We did some of that. She talked kind of around that. And then the next week, I talked around emotions. And so we have been kind of talking about what is stirring in Moms and More. I had more feedback about that talk on emotions than I have had on any talk I've ever done. Amy had tons of feedback around her talk on the personality test. And the thing that stirred in me is the idea of how do we manage our emotions, how do we live out relationally with these different parts of ourselves. We want more information on that. We want to know how to do that practically. I wanted to know that. And when I think about women that I see individually, and we talk about this concept of authenticity, and I would say the number one thing I hear is, I don't even know what that is. And so I want to take occasionally just a practical moment to give you all another piece to help you stir around some of this. If our primary means of ministry here at Moms and More is through community, do we know what it looks like to really truly do community? Can we bring the different parts of ourselves in relationship here and feel safe and free to do that? Do we know how to do that? And so sometimes I think there's these obvious things that we just don't think about. And so I wanted us to just sit with one of these concepts and think around, if we're moving in faith, which I think is the same as authenticity. It's about being free. It's about being the woman that God has called us to be. I gave you kind of this example with emotions a couple weeks ago where we talked about it's these pressures that tend to control what we do, be it that it's external pressure, so that might be relationally, from families, from spouses, from our culture. We don't even know where it comes from. We just sense this is the right or wrong thing to do. And internal pressure, that might be more our own feelings, our own thoughts, right? And so we kind of talked about how this kind of pressure tends to keep us stuck. That often we have trouble moving over here to this place that looks more free, which would be, who do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you really want to do? And maybe it answers just more of this question. Now, this is always rested on biblical truth. I love that scripture. You shall know the truth, and it will set you free. What it doesn't say is it will feel necessarily free, right? We talked about how our emotions often condemn us. It's the truth. It's so key to have really biblical truth here. And so I want us to think around this in an area that I think we have all been in touch with. An example that I feel like is very relevant in my own life, and I hear about it a lot in here. And that's the area of early pregnancy and miscarriage. And so for me, I was a part of Moms and More, and I had a miscarriage around 11 weeks of pregnancy, the first miscarriage I had, and it was very difficult for me. And it took me about 6 or 7 months before I got pregnant again. And in that, my personality and who I am, I was so excited about finally getting pregnant again. I wanted to share it with everybody. And right away, what I sensed was this idea of, so let's just say I'm kind of moving out here in my choice, that I just want to be free. I just want to share it. I just want to be who I am. Automatically, I got this sense from many different people, family included, no, don't share anything. You don't know yet. Wait until you're at least 12 weeks. You can't share it with people because you really don't know what's going to happen. And so I remember it was kind of this battle inside of me. What do I do with this? I guess that's what I need to do. I mean, that's just what we do, right? And it kind of looked like, well, what if something happened? What would that mean? Well, I guess I might look stupid. This is just what everybody does. We just wait. We don't want to look weird and be the one who just couldn't keep their mouth shut. This was some of my own thoughts. Okay, I particularly remember this. Or how would people react? I might get the support if I lost the baby, but maybe I wouldn't. That would just feel weird. I'd feel awkward, exposed, right? So I've just got to hold it all together and keep it to myself. It looked something like that, right? And so it was almost like I had this battle of different desires inside of me. We talked about this in the fall. We talked about emotions a couple weeks ago, but in the fall, we talked about what is the thing that really drives our behavior? What is the thing? The Bible talks about it's our desires that wage war inside of us. And so at any time, I think we have both, and I'm not going to write it out because I'll misspell it, righteous desires and we have unrighteous desires, right? At the same time. My righteous desire was, I want to celebrate. I want to rejoice with my friends on this thing that God has given us, this new life, right? But then there was this other unrighteous desire that said, but then I might be out of control. I don't know what people are going to do. I could be exposed. And I don't know what people are going to do with it. I don't know how I'm going to be treated. Maybe I'll be in some form or fashion looked down on, right? And so in order to control the responses of other people, I let my momentary comfort become bigger than my desire to rejoice and really be who I was. These are small whispers inside of us. I don't think we give them much a voice very often. We just automatically hush them, right? Let me read you something. I've been wanting to do this, and then I was reading this article, and this was in here, and I'm like, are you kidding, God? This is so perfect. So this is from a psychotherapist. She is, I don't know if she's a believer or not, to be honest. I've heard different things, but you may have heard of her. Her name is Brene Brown, but I loved this. From her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, she writes, it's only been in the last few years that I've learned that playing down the exciting stuff doesn't take away the pain when it doesn't happen. What it does, however, is minimize the joy when it does happen. It also creates a lot of isolation. And once you've diminished the importance of something, your friends are not likely to call you and say, wow, I'm sorry that didn't work. I know you were excited about it. So now, when something potentially exciting happens, I'm more likely to practice honesty and say, I'm excited about this. Then if things don't pan out, it's comforting to be able to call a supportive friend and ask for the support I need. I love that. So what happens when we decide to not live in the risk, right? We decide not to be free and give in to this, I just would much rather be comfortable. It just feels safer to me. Then we begin to do something else. We begin then to hide our fears underneath some type of layer. And so what we do is we begin to relate to people out here. This is a behavioral strategy that we put on to protect ourselves. It hides us from our fear, okay? Maybe that looks like something like this. It hides us from exposure. Putting on a happy face, keeping conversation light, using jokes or silliness, having a cocky attitude, remaining quiet during discussions, maybe being boasting, or even using manipulative tears. I mean, now maybe not this, but just in general, let's just think about, we all have a tendency to put these on, right? In some form or fashion. And so then we relate up here, which is never really real community. We never relate from love. It's really from this other layer. And what's real is really underneath, okay? Another author, I love her work, Robin Norwood. She talks about the dance of connection in women, and she says, we live in a world that encourages feminine silence and pretense. I think we sometimes don't even know what it looks like. We're so used to it. I remember when I was in Moms and More, God given me a verse. I didn't look it up this time, but it says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting. That has still stayed with me. I do not want to be a person of charm. Do we know how to relate in a real way and really bring who we are to each other? Let's think about it now. I think this is absolutely at the center of our deepest longings for intimacy, for connection, and authenticity. And you know, I think we're seeing more and more people being uncomfortably socially because we've got so many games and so many layers going on, we don't even know which one to bring. And so we would almost rather avoid. So here's what we want to do as believers. Golly, wouldn't it be fabulous to experience real community, ladies? And I think we're just getting a taste of it. I don't know that we're there yet. I think it's hard to find. But I would love to begin to expose these things so we can really go there. So let's do this. What we want to do is we want to attach the same kind of meaning to things. We want to learn how to relate by viewing it in the light of the gospel. I'm telling you, it's crazy. God's word has everything in it. It really lays all this out for us. It is the coolest thing. It is what has so given me the freedom to be more real as time has gone on, because as I've known his word, I'm just like, God, you're so good. It's all there. So there's a couple of things, a lot of things he says, but Romans 12:15, it says, rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those that weep. Do we know how to really do that? Or is it much easier to just pat each other and say, I'll bring them a meal? I think we want to do it. I just think we're not used to doing it. I don't know that our culture really does it anymore. You know, women used to wear black for an entire year when they were grieving. That was a purposeful symbol that I'm mourning. Love on me. I'm suffering. You know, compassion means to suffer with. Do we know how to suffer with other people? I want us to talk about that another time, because that's a whole other subject, right? But another couple of stories about Jesus in terms of what did God do in terms of being honest to exposed people? How did he handle that when people were vulnerable and exposed? Mark 14:3. This was the Jesus and the woman with the alabaster jar of perfume. As you remember, he's hanging out with a bunch of people. This woman comes in, pours this expensive perfume on him, and she was ridiculed by all the men in the room. Are you kidding me? What is she doing? That is the weirdest thing. That was a whole year's worth of money. That was a vulnerable, exposed, but yet authentic thing that she did, right? And so what did Jesus do? He defended her in her vulnerability, and he exalted her. Matter of fact, he said, she has done a beautiful thing, and what she has done will be told anywhere. The good news is told all over the world to this day. He put that in his word. That's how much he valued her authenticity. Another one, I love this, Mark 10, it says, this is about the rich young ruler. So this was the guy who came up to Jesus and said, hey, Jesus, what do I need to do to get into the kingdom of heaven? This was a man with a real desire. It wasn't from a surface place. What do I need to do? I want to be in heaven with you. And the first thing Jesus said was, well, keep the commandments. He was like, well, I've done that. I've been doing those since I was a kid. I've kept all those. And then listen to Jesus' response here. Because isn't this a hard place to tell the truth to someone? And then Jesus, looking at him, he says, loved him. Loved him. And because he loved him, he was honest with him, and he said, you lack one thing. Go sell all that you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and then come and follow me. And so he went directly to the one place where he knew his desire was bigger than God, his fear. And that is, my money helps me to stay comfortable. But because he loved him, he went to that uncomfortable place and said, hey, there's this one thing. When you get rid of this, you can know me and you will truly be free. Two different ways true honesty to an exposed person's fear moved people towards God. Okay? So, what I just want you all to chew on this. And there's two sides of this. Now, in terms of my story here, this was true for me. Authentically, I wanted to share where I was at. That was me. Do you have to do that? No. But what I would say to you is ask why. Why am I doing this? Because I don't know if we really think about that. Is it out of a want to, or I feel like I should? Is it out of a fear? Now, is this risky? Because you know what? You don't know how people are going to respond. It's really the other side of the coin. You may choose to be authentic, right? But we don't know what people are going to do with that. And we will be exposed. It is vulnerable. I'll tell you, I did have a miscarriage that time. And my third pregnancy, I said, screw it. I'm telling people right away. I don't care. And I remember people saying, girl, what if it happens again? Now it's happened twice. You're still going to tell people? And for me, I was like, you know what? I want to be excited. And if I lose this one, which I did, then I will need the support of the body of Christ bigger than ever to love on me in the midst of this journey. And so that was the choice that I made, and it was authentic for me. And I needed the body. It was through this community, it was through being loved in real ways that I then came to know Christ. Because I'm like, I want what they have. There's something that I'm missing. So it was really through this journey. So I just want us to consider why we're doing things. And I'll tell you, there were people that said things to me that didn't feel fabulous. I remember a sweet friend coming over, bringing me something. She was pregnant at the time. I had just lost, another one. And she said, well, at least you weren't that far along. That was very hurtful to me. But did it have to be something that was so big that I couldn't handle it? No. But you know what? People may disappoint. But for me, I knew her heart was right. She didn't know the right things to say necessarily. But for me, it was still worth it. So if you think about it, in terms of people disappointing, they will. And we got to talk about that part here. How do we handle suffering? What does that look like? That's another thing I want us to do. That's the other piece of this coin. Because we don't necessarily do it well. I think we want to. I think often we don't know how to do it well. But what has to be bigger in order for us to really be free is that even if people disappoint me, I'm going to continue to be who God has called me to be because my love is rested in something deeper. I'm rooted and grounded in Him. And I'm always accepted even in my exposure. That's what has to be bigger. So I just want y'all to kind of chew on that, and we're going to stop there. And I'll tell you, I'm going to pray over us, and I'm going to invite Jewl up. So this has been a different semester. We've had some twists and turns, and Jewl is going to come and speak to us. Our speaker for this morning could not come. So Jewl, who was going to be here 2 weeks ago and speak on prayer, she had come in here. She had everything set up. She had prayed over this room. And then Tuesday we got canceled. So Jewl was sweet enough to come back and share with us. And so, which I'm like, okay, God, this is the thing you're doing, this prayer journey for us. And so I hope it's just a sweet time to really learn how to break that down practically. So I want to pray over us, and then I'm going to introduce Jewl. Lord, I thank you for these women. I thank you for the gift of being a woman. That there's such about us that wants to nurture and take care of each other. And Lord, I pray that through your truth, we would figure out how to do that well. That you would help us to know what freedom looks like in a day-to-day way. That we do not want to be women who were cursed by silence and pretense. And Lord, I pray this specifically over this community, that you would help us to be messy and begin to live in these risky ways, even if we don't get it exactly right. Could we give each other permission to do that here? And Lord, I know that you have great things for us this semester. And I thank you for how you're moving, how I know you're moving even in marriages amongst us. And Lord, I pray that whatever richness we get from Jewl's talk this morning on prayer, that it would just be something that we carry with us, that we learn how to use, that we move into prayer as such really a thing of faith that feels so much like an unknown. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so Jewl has almost 2 grown daughters. Come up here. I'm not going to get all your stuff right, but her and her husband are a part of a ministry, Freedom in Christ, which is really about people finding their identity in Christ. It's fabulous. Jewl is a prayer warrior. Brian, her hubby, who I get the pleasure of working with, mentors a lot of men, and just a super, super neat realness about the both of them. It's one of the things I love, the authenticity that they both bring. And so she has prayed on us and has really spent a lot of time preparing this. And so I'm excited about her joining us and her 2 daughters that are almost grown. Do they both babysit? Are they the ones? Okay, yeah. Anyway, so I guess they may be at your house when we do our prayer thing. But anyway, so So just another backup thing. I know we're always looking for good singers.
Okay. Thank you, Rebekah. Okay, how come it seemed like it was working for you and not me? It's on. Well, I better be on then.
Do you need it louder? Or is that good for you?
Can you hear me? Wow, what a gift you had in Rebekah. Can you thank her? Take advantage of these women here that have walked long and hard with Jesus. And sometimes looking at someone like Rebekah, you think, oh, she's always known God. And then all of a sudden you hear, oh, there was a time, even as an adult, where she didn't know God. So take courage, take hope that God working in you can also put you in a place of ministering to others, not even just later, but even right now. So yeah, I came through and prayed over the chairs. So, God probably mixed up the chairs from that time 2 weeks ago and said, I don't even know what I said, but maybe the prayer that I prayed over your chair got switched around just for you. As she said, my name is Jewl, and let me tell you a little bit about myself. But first I want to say, congratulations, you're here. You know how Jimmy that says that on the Tonight Show. He says that, yeah. He says, you're here. And I want to say that to you because when I was a mom with little ones, I was like just to carry the 2 car seats everywhere and you got your diaper bags and trying to unbuckle everybody and you're just like, can I just breathe for a minute? And so whether you had a short night like I did last night due to unexpected events, or whether your life is spinning so fast that you just don't even know what week it is, let alone what the day is, I want to welcome you. And I want to thank you too for welcoming me. I'm glad you're here. So so here's a couple little things about me just for trivia. The church yard sale. Man, I love that. I think everybody wins. So does anybody else in here like yard sales? Woo, yes. So I like to donate the stuff. I feel good about that. I like to buy the stuff. I like to work at it because it's helping missions. So I like to go to thrift sales, and but here's the deal. I go to Carm a lot. My kids don't, because I usually take a long time there. I mean, not forever, but anyway, they're like, Mom, come on. I have 2 girls that were like this at one time, and those of you that know them, you're like, my younger one is now 5'9", and so she leans over to hug me, but thankfully she still likes to give me a cuddle. Brianna and Amber are their names, and they do babysit their full lives, but we would be glad to talk with you if you need some assistance there. So, yeah, but they got college coming up, so $100 an hour. Not we are looking at college, and that's a whole new way of trusting God, that's for sure. But anyway, back to the thrift stores. My house is now fairly complete, and so now I have to slow down. I have to really consider when I make these really great deal purchases. But the thing I really have a soft spot for is books. Now, how many of you are book lovers? Yes. And so this is like, we're the jackpot here in Knoxville, because we have what? McKay's. And honestly, even at Carm, $1 a book. I mean, I could resell it at McKay's possibly and make a profit. So, but now it's time for me now it's time for me to purge those books. And you might be surprised to know that even though my children are now 16 and 18, I don't have a lot of time. That's crazy, because I know when my kids were little, I was like, oh, they could only buckle their own seatbelts. I mean, honestly, when mine were little, I was challenged. Maybe some of you are just rocking it and loving every minute. And honestly, God allowed us to to not meet my husband until late. And so, yeah, so we didn't get married till we were 30. And then when we had children, we had gone through a number of years of infertility. And so we were 39 and 40.
Wow.
And yeah, so now I'm an old mom with young kids. And but when they were little, I had the energy of an older person. And after those years of infertility, I was just like, so thrilled to have them. And I didn't want to complain, but honestly, there were times when I was like, well, maybe many times. Honestly, maybe many times a day when I said, God, without you, I cannot do this. And whether you're old or young, it is, I just find it incredibly challenging. So kudos to you. If no one else has told you today, because your kids probably won't thank you for cleaning up the peas on the floor and all the things that we do. Thank you for letting your kids wow. I like to hike, I like to bike ride, I love to travel. We've been in ministry for a long time now, and previously we worked in an evangelical ministry, and so I've gotten to go to like 17 different countries. So one of the things I love to do is meet internationals. And just a little thought on that, it's amazing as the theme of what we're talking about today is conversations with God. Conversations with God is what I entitled this. And I love to walk and pray. How many of you love to walk? And there's something about getting outside and the exercise releases the dopamine, like you can deal with the day, right? So when mine were like 3, I'm like, I've got to get out of the house. I wish I had a gift like the Moms and More, something where you've got real meat to chew on. But I also needed the exercise, so I started swimming at the Y, and somebody else was watching up for an hour, and it was great. So that's just a little tip. If you're not finding places to get out, but I love to pray and walk. And so we were right by the walkway, and one particular time, I saw a little Asian woman, and she was kind of around the corner from me, but I could see her really well. I'm like, oh, I've been to all these Asian countries. I miss Asian people. Lord, please help me to, meet more again and make room for that in my life. Well, little did I know that at that same time, she was praying. Her English name is Michelle, because I don't know how to say her Chinese name. She was praying a prayer. She hadn't even seen me yet and wasn't even thinking about me. But she was like, she's a Christian, and she was also praying that, Lord, all the Christians that I know are Chinese. I go to a Chinese church. And she's like, I need to break out of that. I'd like to meet some non-Chinese Christians. So anyway, she stopped to tie her shoe or something. By that time, I caught up with her, and we started a little conversation. We ended up walking together, and now she's my friend. How sweet is that? And then on top of that, I called her this morning and said, do I need you to pray for my talk? But a few weeks ago, she called me, and she said, my friend in China, her daughter is coming to visit me. She's 16 years old. And as it turned out, her daughter doesn't know God. And she said, would your daughters like to meet her? And I'm thinking most internationals have never been even in an American home. And that's a big part of the culture that they would get to experience. So then I got to watch my girls and this girl, her English name is Brigitta, which I think is kind of cute. Talk with her about their relationship with God, another answer to prayer. So you don't know sometimes whether you like to walk and pray like I do, or in other realms, what God is doing maybe in even a different country as a result of your prayers. So I would like to hear just a little bit about you guys. So I'm going to walk around a little bit, if I can. All right. Who likes to talk? You look like you like to talk. Will you tell us what you do for fun? What's your name and what you do for fun?
My name is Jessica. And what I do for fun, I have a young horse who's not always so fun, but he's a lot of work. So that's what I do.
A horse?
Yeah.
My oldest loves horses. I need to get together with you. Oh my goodness. How many of you are horse lovers? Woo! Cool. I didn't know that about you, listen. What another gift you've got here. Very cool. What do you like to do for fun?
My name's Michelle. Right now I'm pregnant, so taking naps are fun.
Amen and hallelujah. Those naps. And I'm back to the naps already at my age. Okay. Who would like to tell me your favorite ice cream? I can't reach over there.
Peppermint.
Peppermint. My daughter's with you. Brianna, what do you like?
Mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. Because all of us together, you might not even get to know some of the people at other tables. So how many of you would say mint chocolate? How many of you love ice cream? Okay. So together. What do you like to do for fun? Cool. What do you paint? I'm really stuck there. So do you paint with watercolors? Okay. And do you do nature scenes or people or flowers?
Whatever I see, abstract and original artwork.
Very cool. And your name is Brooke. Okay, how many of you are artists in some way? Okay, we probably all are in some creativity. How many of you like to paint? How many of you like to go on Pinterest? How many of you are Pinterest? Pinterest intimidates me. I'm like, I do Facebook and Instagram, and I'm like, I don't need one more social thing. Well, thank you. It helps me just to get to know some of you a little bit. But those are the kinds of things as we get to know each other and learning how to have conversations with God. It might be very similar to what we just did. It might be hey, I've never met you. And in fact, I'm not even sure you're real. Brianna, my oldest, when she was maybe even 7, 8, would say to me more than once, she said, man, I just don't know about God. Like, how do I know he's real? Now, she had already invited Christ to pay for her sins. But she's like, I just can't see him. And she's my artist. And so she sees things in pictures. Now, it doesn't transfer to maps, I found out, now that she's driving. Do you remember how to get to small group? Because she's been going there for a long time now. A couple of years I've been driving her. And she says, Mom, I can picture the trees along the way. How many of you are directionally challenged? This is my really smart girl. It's just I love how God makes us all unique and different. So she's the artist, and she's like, I can't see God. So how do I relate with somebody I can't see? How would you respond to that? Maybe some of you are there.
Talk.
Speak
to him.
I'm sorry?
Speak to him.
Yeah, speak to him. And I just said something like, I don't see God, but I see the results of him working in my life. I see the answers to prayer. I see you. And oh my goodness, are you an answer to prayer? So Brianna was our oldest after these years of infertility. We were trying to adopt from Russia, and maybe some of you have stories like this. The day before we were to turn over the big earnest money, the home study was done, and all this rigmarole. We've been taken advantage of by somebody, and that's a whole other story. And so we were to pay over $5,000, which was a big deal for us. And that's the day that I realized I was pregnant. I mean, like, my period was really late. And so we call her our miracle at the ripe old age of 39. I was nursing her, and I started to have these flu-like symptoms. Some of you know where I'm going. And my husband was on a trip, and I called him and I said, hey, I found out what I have, and it's not the flu. And he's like, what is it? And I'm like, well, I'll wait till you get home. He was all irritated. Tell me! What's wrong with you? Just tell me what it was. And I'm like, no, wait till I get home. This was the story of our lives. We got into lots of arguments friends. We argued the most the night we got engaged. Oh my goodness. But if I know he was going to propose to me, I'm sure I would have cooperated. I didn't know. I was. So anyway, so when I picked him up from the airport at the Kiss Park in Atlanta, have you ever lived in Atlanta? Well, anyway, not the only one, but anyway, the little Kiss and Park at the MARTA station, I'm like, we're gonna kiss and park here, you know, and I'm like, let me drive, because you're gonna cry, because this is big, you know, and I'm gonna tell him that I was pregnant with number 2, while the other one was like baby, only 7, 8 months old in the back seat, and we argued about that too, but anyway, I won, and I drove, because I didn't want him to cry while driving, and that was our number 2, and we call her the flu bug. So, you know, she doesn't have an identity crisis. Like, what would you rather be, a miracle or the flu bug? But what gives, what answers to prayer? I had some good friends that were praying for me in those years of infertility. Some close friends, and one of them in particular was praying that God would put a child in our lap. Of course, we thought it was adoption. Right? But then God chose to grow my lap from within. Not any better than the other way. I love adoption. I still pray for those. But honestly, by the time we had 2 and I was 40, I was like, that's it. Because our family was far away. And not just because of that, but our church was also far away. We lived like half an hour away, good traffic in Atlanta. And you know, and in that challenge, I was praying frequently during the day. God, without you, I can do nothing. Usually it would start in the morning. It was like, God, help me wake up. How many of you are not early people? And those late, oh my goodness. And so through the day, it might look like something like this. Lord, through you, I can do anything, you know, including figure out the conflicts with my husband about who was going to do what and all of that. And that was, you know, sometimes touchy. Because as a mom, we can feel like we're the ones doing everything, which isn't necessarily true. Sometimes it may be, but and then it's also learning how to pray in a different way. Forgiving from the heart, you know, when the spouse isn't being exactly the kind of person you think they should be. And then that helps our prayer language too, because the more we realize we're praying for everybody else in the family to change and hurry up right now, including those beautiful, wonderful kids that you've prayed so hard for, and you're like, what's wrong with you, you know? And as Rebekah talked about a couple weeks ago, you know, just those emotions come up and the anger, and you're like, where did that come from? That's not the me I thought I was before I had kids, and all of a sudden all this junk comes out of the toothpaste. Am I the only one that has ever gotten angry, like unexpectedly, really, really angry with, wow, no one's raising their hand. And so then it's learning how to pray in a different way, like, Lord, forgive me, because all I want to do is have everybody around me change, including my spouse and these beautiful, wonderful kids that I prayed for, when in fact what you're saying is, I want to work on you. And I'm now in a new period where God is sifting me. So even yesterday, as I thought I'll have some delightful time relaxing and preparing for this talk, but just doing devotions with the family, everything blew, well, it was the girls and I, everything blew up. These delightful, wonderful girls. And I'm like, okay, we love each other. We're going to do this. Do you do that ever? Like, we're going to power through. We're going to do this no matter what. And they're like, they had blocked goals. And we had all communicated, I thought, about what we were doing. And so, you know, then we've got this enemy who hates us getting together over God's word. I mean, he hates it. And he'll do anything to divide and conquer or make us distracted and make us throw in the towel. And so sometimes it's in these conversations with God, it's a balance between recognizing we're going to have to do it, even if everybody doesn't feel like they're on the same page, and calling out to him for help, and maybe doing some spiritual warfare like praising him in the midst of the conflicts. that defeats the enemy like nothing else. Clarifying communication. So anyway, our house was messy last night, and I ended up in tears going, man, I'm not adequate to talk on prayer. But praise God, we're in a family where because of the hard work when they were young and talking through things, well, they didn't know how to talk early on, but you're just like choosing to be humble and admit my own wrong. That's the hardest, right? That comes through conversations with God. Lord, forgive me for wanting to fix everyone else, and you ought to do this for me, and you're not meeting my needs, when in fact God is saying, your job is to take your own responsibility. So can we talk about that? You know, your pride, your controllingness. Tell me I'm the only one. And so he's in a new season of pruning me too, but it starts with conversations with God. You know why? Because our God is a relational God. He is a relational God. Just like we want to connect with each other. Social media, right? Coming to a place like this, well, and the food, because like food is important, right? But we want to connect with other people in the same season of life to go, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. We desperately need each other, you know? But ultimately, none of those relationships are going to fulfill like we want them to, ever. And in fact, in Jeremiah 2, let me grab it. Jeremiah 2:13. My husband says this verse frequently, and it really grabs me. My people have committed two sins. My people have committed two sins. This is Jeremiah 2:13. They have forsaken me. This is God talking. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water. A cistern, from what I understand, is like a pitcher. So if you're an artist, picture broken pieces of clay that can't hold water. The lemonade thing or whatever over there was leaking a while ago. And so these are clay that it just broken pieces of pottery. They will never sustain. So what God is saying here is we've forgotten that God is the one who made us, who knows us best, who loves us, even in the midst of our mess, like our family felt like it was last night. Loves us. He pursues us. And it's not because he's shaking his finger at us. It's because he enjoys us. It's because he wants us to relish in his love for us. But no, we'll grab that phone and we'll grab that TV remote and we'll grab that piece of chocolate cake, which can be good. And we'll go to all these other things which ultimately will never satisfy because they're broken pieces. Not that they're all bad. It's just that we get our life out of whack and we forget there's one. We're relational people. There's only one who can truly satisfy the hunger of our souls to be loved absolutely, perfectly, unconditionally. So I want to shake my husband more in the past than now because he's grown so much and he's doing so much better. But you have to love me unconditionally. And but you know, again, coming back to my responsibility. Mine is to honor him and to pray for him and to pray for these children that God has given me and to enjoy my God because he is living, breathing perfectly. He made us for a relationship and that will never be satisfied. Pascal, our lives are never satisfied until with this, there's a hole in our heart until it's met with God and God alone. If you know don't have that relationship with God, talk to somebody that knows. On Facebook, well, you know what? Yeah, on Facebook this week, and actually I think you got my notes already, so sorry if this is all like rehashed for you. I wrote this up, kind of the best I could for a simple explanation of what a relationship with God is. And it's not in your notes, sorry, but it'll be on Facebook again. Anyone can talk with God because God made us for a relationship. We women in particular long to connect with someone who loves us just as we are. But only a perfect God can fully fulfill that longing of our soul. God started the conversation with us by saying he would provide a way to overcome the sin that separates us from him. So a relationship with God is not complete until you've understood, as I've needed to understand, that my sin separates me from relationship with him. And the Bible says, if you think you have no wrong, you deceive yourself. All of us have wronged God. We have forgotten him. We've gone to empty cisterns. He offered the life of his beloved Son as a sacrifice to pave the way so we could enter into a love relationship with the one who made us, knows us best, and accepts us as his own. Once we accept that gift as payment for our sins by faith in Christ alone, we've been forgiven by a forever friend. How many of you wouldn't want a forever friend? Because even our best friends will let us down. We'll feel disappointed. We may even feel like at times wholly betrayed by these good, dear people that we love. God, the scripture says in Hebrews 11, he will never forsake us. So God is what we're longing for. And so we can pick up the phone daily. So maybe put a little symbol on your phone or somewhere to remind you that the phone is waiting for a phone call, to God. And you can talk to him anytime. It doesn't have to be fancy. Especially when I'm experiencing some spiritual battle, I like to pray out loud. And I might even in the midst of a messy situation, especially when my kids were little, I would stand out loud against the enemy. I would just say, and the enemy is not my kids. It's not my spouse. It's not all those other people that aren't meeting my needs. It's an unseen enemy or demons, and I'll just stand out loud against them. In Jesus' name, I stand against this rebellion in my home. But in James 4, it says, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So the check when I do some standing against the enemy or resisting him is the check in my own heart. But am I submissive? If I'm going to stand against rebellion in my kid, how am I doing? Am I being rebellious against God? Yes, sometimes. Stomping my feet. You're not me, but you're not doing what I want you to do when I want you to do it. Or am I trusting in a big God who made me and knows what's best for me, even in the midst of hard things? Am I on till 10, or how long do I have? Okay. So much good stuff to say. So, I do love to pray. But don't put me on a pedestal. Don't think I'm a guru. I pray a lot because I need God a lot. Entering into conversations with God can be as simple as finding other symbols, like if you want to put a sticker on your phone to remind you he's available all times. He's there. Before you call your friend, go, can you believe it? Call him. He's there. He's waiting. He can talk to you and them and Brigitta in China when she comes to know him at any time, anywhere. Some of the symbols that I use to remind myself to talk to God are perfume. Sounds ridiculous. And like my friend Elizabeth, she always smells so good. I always say that to her. I don't remember to put it on every day, but I have Love and Daisies on today. But my real perfume that were gifts to me from a long time ago. One is a lure. Well, I don't want to lure anybody to me except for my husband. So every time I put on a lure, I'm like, Lord, allure people to know you. And then I have another one, notorious. That's even worse. Like, ooh, that's not what my goal in life, to be notorious. So every time I put on notorious, I'm like, God, make your name notorious. Find things that you like, that remind you that God is waiting. Not impatiently, but longingly for you to begin conversations with him. You know, in my days of our days of infertility, and those are long and hard. Pray for your friends with miscarriages. Whew, hard. I didn't have any miscarriage, but I can just imagine the loss of life and the misunderstanding from people that minimize, you know, that life just because it's still in the womb. What big deal? It's a life. It's a child. It doesn't matter when. And so, but sometimes, you know, as Rebekah said, we need to reach out to others. How many of you have friends that you can share deeply with about your real needs and say, will you pray for me? How many of you have friends like that? Like you trust them, they're not going to go blabbing about it. What gifts they are. And so I have a friend that I prayer walk with sometimes when we can, with her little 3-year-old in the stroller and her, she's like me, running teens around. I have friends that I text, because some of my closer friends are long distance. I'm like, pray for me, you know? And we just shoot stuff back and forth that way. That vulnerability and that authenticity that Rebekah models and speaks about so well is vital for us to lean into God and to recognize, to remind us, you know, people that are going to speak life into us and go, you know, have you prayed about this? Because I just sense there's some, you know, resistance there. So in the infertility days, not the fertility days, we had those too, I guess. So are you, that's, you know, in some way or another, through adoption. But there were 3 things that I think God wanted to do during that time. Now, this isn't a cause and effect, because we like to find the magic fix, right? You know, like, maybe you're infertile. Maybe you've had a child and now you're longing for another. And so you're like, okay, what's the next thing I need to do? Blah, blah, blah. And we can go into that mode of taking care of us when we feel really out of control. So it wasn't a cause and effect, but there were 3 things that I felt that God wanted to put into place in my life. One was an extended period of fasting, because Lord knows I haven't done it very well since having kids and working with their food. That was a beautiful time of extended prayer. Now, every day during that time, I talked to God about, I really want children. I've always wanted children. I wasn't fasting in order to manipulate him. I made, you know, it's not like if I fast, maybe you'll give me this kid. It was easy to go there, but I can't go there, because God's not like a vending machine, right? You know? And sometimes we're like him. We're like that with him. We're like the little kids going, gimme, 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 you know, pulling at the mom's skirt. Or how Amber used to be with me. She's a cute sense of smell. And even, gosh, when she was maybe a year and a half already, or a year, she could talk. And every time I snuck a piece of candy or a piece of chocolate, she smelled that. She'd stick her nose in my mouth. What are you eating? What are you eating? I want it. And so we can be like that with God, like demanding, like, gimme, 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 gimme. Can I have it? I'm like, no, that's my chocolate. You know. So anyway, that was one thing I felt like God wanted to do, was that extended fast. There was something God wanted to root out of me, and I knew it, but I didn't know how. And honestly, the ministry that we work with helps people root out things. And even in doing that ministry, I still needed help. Thankfully, finally, a girl came along, a woman who had been where I was, and she helped me root out this recurring attitude of sin. And it was gone, you know, it was gone. And then the other thing, and this is where I wanted to go with that, is God wanted us to go to the elders to ask for prayer, for healing, because it's scriptural. Is anybody in trouble? Is anybody sick? Then call for the elders to come and pray. And then it's after that it says, this is James 5, confess your sins one to another and pray for each other that you may be healed. That's an important part of the quotient in our prayer, is sometimes we've prayed alone long enough. We need to go and ask for help. Very, very humbling. I was in ministry. I don't know what made me think just because I was in ministry I didn't need to go to the elders, but it was like, especially something as personal about like our bedroom, having us pray about us being able to have children. But there's something beautiful about asking for help. I would pray for you, and I'm going to pray for you, that you are willing to ask for help from God, and at times from trusted friends. You may have different levels of friends. So I never really even got into 1 Peter, but that's okay. First, I guess what I wanted to say from that, and this is what you're going to be meditating on, one of the things I love to do is pray scripture back to God. Has anybody ever done that? Like the Psalms, we're in the Psalms right now. Just turn that psalm into a prayer. Lord, I'm mad. That's what David did. I'm mad. But then he turned it back to, but I trust you. And that's an important part of it. One time somebody came up to me and she said, Jewl, I sense that God loves your honesty with them, because I am very honest with them. I'll tell them exactly how I'm doing. And she says, and God is pleased that you also choose to trust him. But she says, you need to get to the trusting him a little bit sooner. Those are good words. Like sometimes we just complain, and God's going, but do you trust me? So in 1 Peter, what I like to do is pray scripture back to God. And there's a long passage there, so just look at that and go, where it says in 1 Peter 1, be self-controlled. I go, Lord, help me to have more self-control than try to control everybody else in my family. And then it says, as obedient children, Lord, don't conform to the evil desires you had, past tense, when you lived in ignorance. Be holy. So then I turn that into a prayer. Lord, help me to be holy. Jumping on to chapter 2, it says, as you come to him, the living stone, rejected by men, this is chapter 2, verse 4, but chosen by God and precious to him, you also like living stones. And so just to wrap up on this part, my name's Jewl. It's spelled funny. It's spelled Jewl, like why my parents did that to me, I don't know. But it made my life complicated. But I didn't always like it, because in a Christian school that I went to when I was young, we sang this song, Precious Jewels, and all the heads would swing around and look at me like what am I supposed to do? Like, it's not my fault. My name is in the song, and they spell it wrong because they have 2 E's and I only have 1. But I didn't really like my name, and God took me to Tokyo, Japan, to hear a whole summer of talks on 1 Peter. And during one talk in particular, I went out on the second or third biggest city in the whole world, on the city street, found a sunny spot because all the tall buildings, hardly any sun. And I had to tell God, you know what, I'm sorry I haven't liked my name. Why am I bringing that up? Because I had not accepted my preciousness. And it's possible that if you're not having conversations with God, that you're not seeing yourself as the precious living stone that you are, if you know Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus, you're still precious, and he longs for you to know his love. He sees you as precious, sisters. You are so loved. So when you feel that God up there is mad at you and shaking his finger and saying, get it together and No matter how much you do, it's never going to be enough. You're seeing a wrong vision. Because he's wooing you. He's alluring you. He's calling to you by name. He enjoys you. There's even a verse in Scripture, I can't think of the reference right now, but he sees you as the apple of his eye. My, how cool is that? Because all our kids want to be the favorite, right? We all get to be God's favorites. Every one of us. So I just want to stop and pray for you. Will you let me do that? God, I thank you that you're here. And I thank you for the gift of these women. They are gifts to us here and to each other. I thank you for welcoming us. I thank you that you're bigger than all of our troubles and concerns and worries. Oh my goodness, God, we worry so much as women. And I'm so sorry. Because you want us just to turn it into a prayer and then leave it at your feet. And when we're afraid, God, we have so many fears, like Rebekah talked about. Risk-taking and being vulnerable with others and saying, I need help. I need prayer. I need a meal. Forgive us for depending on ourselves and being too proud to admit that we need help. And Lord, forgive us for the times that we've not forgiven others as we've been forgiven. Thank you that your forgiveness is complete and you are faithful even when we're not. I pray for these women. Oh my goodness, I would have so loved more prayer when I had little ones and I was just spinning circles. And so I pray for these beautiful, lovely, precious women, that they will know that you're already on the phone line waiting for them to respond to your love, to respond to your encouragement, which includes courage for the moment, for every day. So give us today our daily bread. And bless these women now as they look at the Scripture. Just make it come alive to them as they pray back